So I've now received a special message from someone who calls himself a special reporter. Let's see what that's all about.
Hello folks, this is your local reporter. I'm actually visiting a cave lab for you, unfortunately by myself. Usually in this course, at some point during the course we go to a certain virtual reality lab, such that you can experience yourself what things are like. I think that makes quite a big difference. Unfortunately, as you will understand, that's not possible this year, which is very sad. But still, I'm in this lab today, so I thought I'll show you what it looks like, still to give you sort of an impression, what things look like in a cave lab, cave automatic virtual environment. So here we go. Alright, so here I've just entered the door of this lab, and what you see is well, all sorts of things. Most importantly, here we are in the control room, as they call it, which is sort of behind this cave. And here already through this window you see this cave environment with large screens, really like over 2 meters in height, with something projected onto it. And here in this control room, this is typically where a researcher is, or where someone is who's overlooking what's going on in the lab itself. So here's a computer that sort of tracks where the glasses are that people are wearing. So here in the middle you see those glasses, and those green squares, those are cameras that are inside the lab, so you can see the position of the glass. You can check whether everything works well. And here then there's another computer that presents this virtual world. So here everything's installed to be able to present a virtual world to participants, to experimental participants in research, for instance, but also to general visitors next door. So this is just a desktop computer that runs everything. So typically when I'm doing research, I'm sitting here waiting for participants to finish their experience inside. There are all sorts of equipment that you need for things to run well, cameras, microphones. Here you see those 3D glasses, a couple of spare ones for people to wear. Yeah, maybe let's go inside. So here, if you enter this lab, typically this is where you would go. Yeah, so now we're inside this cave lab. I launched a nice virtual environment for you with some nice trees and with some nice animals, and you see also some laser beams. And what you actually see here is that what you see is not totally sharp, right? And that's correct. So if you're not wearing any 3D glasses, it's a bit vague. So it's not completely sharp, but you sort of get the gist. Oh, we have a nice spider there. And typically participants wear glasses. So I'll show them to you. Here you see those, they have those sensors. And you place them on your head. There you go, so they go like this onto your head. And then through those glasses, let's see if this works. Well, if you put them on your head, you maybe get to see it a little bit. Yeah, there you go. So here, now you see this kind of animal here in 3D, right? So now it's sharp. Now it's sort of working. And then ideally here, this virtual environment, you sort of get to see this in 3D. So here's also a nice spider. Maybe it's a good thing if it's not too sharp. So the idea is you enter this room, you wear those glasses, and what you see here in 3D, so this forest in this case, and a couple of animals, you get to see this in 3D. And it actually also comes towards you. So it's more or less as if you're in this virtual environment, as if you're sort of in the middle of it. All right. Another important thing, so down here and up there, you see those cameras, right? So those are infrared cameras, and they are tracking the sensors that are on the glasses. So here on those glasses, you see those sort of metal balls, so those silver balls. They are being tracked by those infrared cameras, such that if you move around in the space while you're wearing these glasses, those sensors track where you are, such that what you see sort of depends on where you are. So it adapts to where you're looking. And one important thing here is that if you, for instance, would bend over, you'd see different things compared to when you're further away or closer by. So really those sensors that are moving, they're being tracked. such that what you see is really dependent on where you're looking. So as if you're in the real world, if you would look up, you would still see the sky. If you would look down, you would see the floor. Different viewpoints lead to different input. This is what those sensors are taking care of. Well, one other final important thing, so here we are actually behind one of those screens. So this is one of those screens from behind. And here you actually get to see that actually two projectors, whoops, are projecting this virtual world onto the screens. So down here you have one. It's projecting this virtual world onto a mirror here, and via this mirror it's projected onto the screen. And the same holds for the top projector there. It projects it onto this mirror, and via the mirror it goes onto the screen. Participants are on the other side, users are on the other side, experiencing things in 3D in there. So in this case, there are those two projectors per large projection screen for higher quality, basically. So so this was a little tour through a virtual reality lab. You sort of, not firsthand, but still you more or less got to see a bit what this looks like. You can experience and project all sorts of things there. So behind you there's this control room, but typically you won't watch there because there's no wall with virtual content here, so you don't even realize when you're in this virtual world. Yeah, and you can hang around here for say an hour or so, experience all sorts of things, some crazy animals, things you cannot really experience in the real world. And obviously you can also do research here, track people's eye movements, see what happens in their brains when they're in a different world. You can have them interact with virtual agents, with avatars, and have all sorts of experiences.